PAS Youth believes that their party should take over the leadership of Perikatan Nasional. Nurulhidayah Ahmad Zahid has responded to Akmal Saleh over his announcement of a special convention to determine the party's direction. Stay tuned to this and more on KiniNews. PAS Youth Chief Afnan Hamimi Azamudden has argued that the recent political crisis in Perlis has proved Bersatu unfit to lead Perikatan Nasional. In a post on Facebook, he said with what has happened in Perlis, it is fitting for PAS to take over the PN leadership. In his post, Afnan did not name Bersatu but referred to it as a friend who is weak and treacherous. He said a friend who cannot control their subordinates is a weak friend, and a friend who topples their friends is a treacherous friend. Afnan also contrasted past disciplinary actions against its members for their role in the coup compared to inaction from Bersatu. He said our friend failed to control the party's assembly person who signed the SD, and when asked, the response was that there was no instruction given for them to sign the SD. He added that when they were pressured to take stern action like PAS has done to its 3 former assembly persons, there is no action to this day. Instead, he pointed out that they nominated themselves to be Menteri Besar. He said there was no instruction but no action, and this carries the meaning of an approval for their actions. He stressed that those who betray cannot be friends and those who are weak cannot lead. Bersatu President and PN Chairperson Muhyiddin Yassin clarified on Saturday that the party did not instruct them to sign any statutory declaration and would summon them for an explanation. A Wanita Umno exco member has told Akmal that any decision on the position of the party within the Madani government is not up to Umno Youth alone.
Wanita Umno exco member Nurulhidayah Ahmad Zahid has penned an advisory note to Umno Youth Chief Akmal Saleh following the latter's announcement of a special convention to determine the party's direction. Nurulhidayah, who is the daughter of Umno President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, said that while speaking out is a legitimate right of party members, the narrative of staying or leaving, we decide, is a very weighty statement. She said it goes beyond raising a policy discussion and instead suggests that the party's strategic decisions could be driven by emotional pressure and immediate mobilization rather than through legitimate party structures and processes. She added that in a large organization like UMNO, the party's direction is not determined by a single wing, let alone through public pressure that could be interpreted as internal political threats. While acknowledging that Akmal's statements stem from care and unease, she noted that taking issues of party direction directly into the public sphere with an ultimatum-like tone creates the perception that UMNO is divided from within. She warned that this not only weakens the party presidents and top leadership, but also provides free ammunition to opponents and political observers. Nurulhidayah stressed that young leaders must understand that the courage to speak out must be accompanied by the wisdom to safeguard the party's dignity. As such, she urged that the upcoming Umno Youth Special Convention focus on argument-based debates rather than emotionally driven narratives. She concluded her post by congratulating Akmal for organizing the convention, noting that such a platform, rather than street demonstrations, is a more appropriate avenue for debates. From now on, you can also listen to KiniNews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Scan the QR code on the screen to follow us.
Akmal had announced that Umno Youth would be holding a special convention to discuss the issue yesterday.
Umno Youth will be holding a special convention to determine whether its future lies within the Madani government. This is according to his chief Akmal Saleh. In a video posted on his Facebook page yesterday, Akmal said the move to hold a special convention is a response to DAP's Puchong MP Yobi Yin's failure to deliver a public apology within the 24 hours given to her.
Sama adakah hanya sekadar kenyataan saya saja, ini hanyalah pendapat peribadi ataupun apa. Jadi saya nak maklumkan ini bukan pendapat peribadi saya, maka saya nak jemput semua akar umbi, pemuda, puteri maupun siapa sekalipun yang masih lagi sayangkan UMNO dan juga ahli UMNO untuk datang ke Konvensyen Khas Pemuda UMNO Malaysia yang bertajuk Ahli Tuju UMNO, sama ada kekal atau keluar daripada kerajaan ini pada 3 hari bulan 1 ini yang akan bertempat di Dewan Tun Ismail di PWTC.
Akmal added that they will bring what was brought up at the convention to the Supreme Council and submit it to the Umno President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi. Previously, Yo had remarked that the court's decision on former Premier Najib Abdul Razak's house arrest was a cause for celebration. The following day, Selangor Umno Youth handed over a memorandum to one of Yo's officers at her service center, demanding that she issue an apology and take down her post within 24 hours.
The spotlight on the 1MDB scandal is now shifting back to former Attorney General Apandi Ali. A lawyer and an MP have both separately questioned about a police probe that had been launched against him in 2022. Klang MP Charles Santiago and lawyer as well as DAP Women's Legal Bureau Chief Sanjit Kaur Dio has questioned the police probe that was launched against former Attorney General Apandi Ali in 2022 over his handling of the 1MDB case. In separate statements, both argued that the 1MDB scandal was not former Premier Najib Abdul Razak's fault alone. Sanjit said the public needs to know what happened with the police probe on Apandi. She stated that the 1MDB scandal was too large to have occurred without knowledge, involvement, or serious failures by more than a few individuals. She added that anyone who played any role in enabling, justifying, or allowing the 1MDB wrongdoing to continue should be investigated. Apandi, a former federal court judge, was appointed as Attorney General by Najib in 2015 after Abdul Ghani Patil was suddenly removed from office. Just over a week after his appointment, Apandi moved to disband a special task force investigating 1MDB, saying it was not needed. Apandi had also declared in 2016 that Najib had no knowledge that 42 million ringgit of SRC international funds were from an Arab donation. Meanwhile, Charles, in his statement today, cautioned that Apandi did not operate in a vacuum. He said others amplified and legitimized the fiction, and the current MACC chief, who was then Director of Investigations, Azam Baki, had also confirmed that investigators met the so-called Arab donor. He added that the public was told repeatedly and authoritatively that the money was a donation, that it was clean, and that the matter was closed. Charles stressed that Najib's conviction has closed one chapter, but now the harder chapter of restoring credibility by holding enablers to account must begin.
If you like the stories we produce, consider supporting us by subscribing to Malaysia Kini. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe.
While we are on the topic on 1MDB, a DAP leader has stressed on the urgent need of reforms. This came following the court's decision on Najib's case.
DAP chairperson Gobind Singh Dio said the 1MDB scandal has highlighted an urgent need for institutional reform, accountability, and the restoration of integrity in public administration. In a statement today, he said the scandal was not merely a criminal case, but a defining test of Malaysia's institutions, governance framework, and political will to confront wrongdoing at the highest levels. He added that it exposed deep systemic weaknesses that allowed the abuse of power to occur and persist for years, resulting in unprecedented financial losses and long-term damage to public trust. Gobind noted that the Madani government has already implemented some reforms, including steps towards separating the roles of the Attorney General and Public Prosecutor. However, he stressed that more needs to be done, particularly in pushing for reforms within enforcement agencies to bring about meaningful change. He said recent cases such as the Malacca shooting are example of how problems which have been apparent for decades continue. Gobind also raised serious concerns over the MACC's handling of certain arrests, investigations and cases, saying that existing oversight mechanisms must be reviewed and strengthened. While acknowledging the efforts of enforcement agencies in combating and resolving crime, he said it was important to recognize that systemic problems remain and must be addressed. To prevent similar cases from recurring, Gobind said reforms must be delivered, stronger governance mechanisms developed, and new structures built to ensure greater accountability in Malaysia.
Rosman Mansoor has shared her views on the circumstances surrounding her husband, Najib Abdul Razak's imprisonment, his biggest regret, and her daily routine. In an interview with Berita Harian, she said she was unbothered by what she described as untrue accusations against Najib and baseless claims involving herself, adding that those closest to her know the truth. Rosmah said her focus remains on the family she and Najib have built together. She said that as a wife, her main responsibility now is to continue providing moral support through prayers. According to Rosmah, the situation they are facing is rooted in politics, and she consistently prays for her husband's well-being and for justice to prevail. She added that Najib's own wish is for her to remain calm and strong for the sake of their family, noting that his anger is directed at the spread of false narratives about them. Rosmah also said that Najib's biggest regret is missing out on watching their grandchildren grow up. She shared that her days are largely spent caring for her grandchildren and other family members, supported by a close network of extended relatives and friends. However, Rosmah reportedly expressed anger towards those she felt were celebrating her family's hardships, saying that regardless of the hatred directed at her or Najib, no one should take joy in another's suffering. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm John. Thanks for watching.